But today we are going to talk about Michael Peterson, Charlie Bronson. You know, probably the biggest UK criminal, the most talked about in criminal history, right? So we know that 20 years ago, I was on the Cathay run for a long period, and I saw him a couple of times down the block. I was Yammy B then, and he was Charlie Bronson. So we're talking to two different characters from the first time when I was a real youngster coming out of YP, starred up and going to Wandsworth, and he was Michael and I was sweet boy Sammy, right? So we had a couple of conversations. You know, it always gets around to training and whatnot, and I know that he changed and I changed, but you know, along that those 20, 25 years during that time, I saw through the door a couple of times him fighting with staff, and you know, some of the power stories that they talk about. You know, I witnessed it firsthand. But today we're talking about the early 80s, Wandsworth Prison. I've come in as a youngster who was getting into trouble in Aylesbury, and you know, I ended up there at 19 or 20, I think. So I don't know how Charlie would have been then, but he was 4 doors away from me, right? So in the old days, right, Wandsworth was a dungeon. Everyone used to be scared to go there. It was a horrific place, right? You used to get beatings off the staff unnecessarily. Inmates that I knew had died down the segregation there. No one ever found answers. You know, they had the liquid cosh around them days there. If you were to, you know, you fought with staff, they were allowed to do that kind of stuff. It's very, very true. And I've got to Wandsworth shitting myself on the sweatbox because I'm with olders on the sweatbox and they're making me more scared with some of the things they're saying there. But anyway, they had the D wing was the Cat A wing. You know, you could walk through D wing and all you see these numbers on the cards: 18s, 20s, 15s, 22, 25. You know, that kind of range. Michael and me were not on that wing. We was on A wing, right? So this was either his second sentence, third. I can't remember all the sentence where he ended up getting life eventually. I haven't studied all that, and you know, I haven't asked him or anyone. My memory's not as great. Maybe I might remember more, but you know, I had the authority to talk about him. I would have done before, you know, if the voice message, you know, that he sent me from the big man up in Newcastle, Steve Rafe, you know, lovingly did that for me, and I was allowed now to, because anytime I talk about anyone, I'd have to ask their families first if I was going into depth, or the person has to not mind, you know. We know that Charlie's on his way. It won't be long. You take it from me, he's going to be out, and I know something that everybody else doesn't know. And anyway, yeah, I'm going off track again, and but no, we're on the wing in Wandsworth. He's 4 doors away from me, right? Wandsworth then was a tense atmosphere. These days you go there, everyone's talking on the landings, running about upstairs, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. The staff are, you know, easy. They're not to care about, you know, what you're doing and all that. They just do as they're told, when they're told, like us, and then get involved. You know, in them days, the officers were sharp, with hats, covering down their eyes with the sticks, and you could see them that it was just all about, it was more army-fied and brutal. But there wasn't a lot of shout. You couldn't shout on the landings in Wandsworth. The minute you go, oh, oi, Jay, or Dave, or oi, it's not that kind of thing. It was really, really serious, right? So I'm on the 2s. Michael's on the 2s. So he's about 4 doors away from me, right? So I used to order. You could order in your money. You didn't get a lot of money to spend at canteen in them days. It was ridiculous. You'd have to work, and it'd be slave labour, and you know, there's not really much options to buy things. Not a great selection of things. But I used to order the KO magazine, which is a boxing magazine, right, monthly. And Michael saw me get it one day during that first week and asked me if he could have it after me. So that's how it started. So I gave him the magazine. He said, yeah, he's in sport. He was pretty fit even then, like kind of physical into his sports, and gets up at the crack of dawn doing his press-ups and sit-ups before eating breakfast and all that. Got me started on that, the Queen's Pardon came much later on my Wandsworth runs. Remember we spoke about that. But yeah, so we built up. He took a little shine to me. Exercise days, you have to walk through D-wing, get on the yard, and you have to walk round in one single file with all blue. You couldn't walk round in an opposite direction because the staff will just blow the whistle and they'll jump on you. So basically, you had to do as you're told, right? So you had to walk in single file when you're coming in off the yard. There's no groups and things like that. Very, very, very intimidating would be the best to describe it. It was a new dawn for me as well after coming out of YPs. You didn't have no toilets in the cell, and you couldn't wash, right? So you get a bowl, around plastic bowl, and you'd have a urine bucket about that size. Some people have to doo-doo in it and can't hold it, or throw their doo-doo out the window in parcels because you can't get out because you can't press the bell. They won't let you out. Wandsworth was just strictly work, bang up, no moving about in the daytime, so there's no noise, so they all just sit down. When you're not out, it's just the staff down in their room and we're all banged up. You can't press the bell and say I want to go toilet. You have to go toilet when there's unlocked times and whatnot, unless you get a good member of staff, one of them ones, and he's a bit more sympathetic. But in them days it was more 1 out of 20, right, compared to now. So every morning is slop out. Right, so you've got 30-40 people on a landing, and you all have to go into the recess to collect your water, empty the urine bucket over there, the wee or whatever it was down the slosh, and then clean it and scrub it. The 2 toilets are there where you have to go doo-doo, right, and the sinks are there. So you've got 1, 2, 3 sinks. Now you can imagine 20 or 30 inmates on a landing. First thing in the morning, haven't washed, going into the urine, going into the recess area, people going straight to the toilet. You can smell the doo-doo, the urine. You're filling up your water in the tub to go and bring back to your cell to wash and that and fresh. Some inmates, the odor and everything. Oh, I used to hate it. And 3 taps. So when one person's finished, like at the slosh, like at the sinks, you come out with your bucket, with your bowl, walk in to your cell, wash, whatever, get ready for work, and blah, blah, blah. The staff always used to line up on the centre in the middle of the wing, where there's a walkway from one side to the other, so that they could observe everything. Right? So on this particular day, this is after just knowing Michael a few days or whatever, and I was glad that he took a shine to me. It was important to me at that stage. He wasn't somebody that I felt frightened of in his company. In fact, I felt very much at ease. He was an easygoing bloke, but you could see that he didn't like bullies as well. He was that kind of man as well, which he probably always has been as well. Michael, and so the recess, right? So we come out in the morning, you get a bit jumpy, you don't want to bump into people, that it could cause fights. So I'm waiting, I'm thinking, oh God, first thing in the morning, people are miserable, they don't want to be in jail, so you got to look at their faces and see their expressions. And me, being me, sometimes I just wanted to burst out laughing. I was finding it all funny as well as fearful. And I'm at that sink, I'm at that tap, filling up my bowl. Another man called Lenny was in the middle there, and another man was there. Michael Peterson was to the right there, waiting for his turn. So the third man there, Chapman, right, bit of a name as well, in later days as well, was taking long, because I'd done mine, come back with the slosh bucket, because I'm on my second. You can only have 2 or 3 trips like that from your cell to the recess. It's almost like the segregation is today in the Cat A's, but that's just a normal wing in Wandsworth. It was running like that, right? So when I came back, Michael was still in the same position with the dirty ball, with his bowl, waiting to clean it so that he can get his washing thing. So Chapman's backed off like that, and Michael said to him, "What, mate? I ain't got all day. You taking a piss?" And he turned round and went to headbutt Michael. Michael moved out of the way. I saw a big left hook, right, and the thud from this punch, right, because you remember it's the first time I've ever seen, the great Charlie Bronson, in later years and whatever, swing a punch, right? And the geezer was about 6'2", very athletic, but the connection for the left hook left him spark out on the floor. Everyone was just looking. Michael picked up, got his bowl, filled up the bowl of water, walked to his cell, and then the bell went, right? So my adrenaline was going. I was thinking, oh no, not Michael, man. You're just about to start getting used to walking around the yard, every day. I didn't know a lot of people in the bits because I just come out of YPs, and it's good to have that hour exercise and have somebody there. He wasn't a big name back then at all. But I saw that, and I said, I knew it. I knew that he could fight. So that, he's gone back to his cell. Staff haven't seen the knockout, so whatever the history was at that stage between him and the staff, I didn't inquire about, so I don't know. But I know that he went back to his cell with the water, washed, and they came to his door a little while later, and he went missing. He went missing for about 3 days. He come back. I saw him. I said, what did they do? They said, I never saw nothing, Sam. I said, I know. I saw the punch, though. He said to me, yeah. It was like normal for him back then. But no. I knew I was in the presence of somebody that physically, that if you get involved with, especially the weaving, and landing, with such calm authority. If best description of it for me as a youngster looking and learning, obviously. And no, he came back. I got moved somewhere. He stayed, or it was vice versa. And I never saw him in Wandsworth again. And it was maybe 3 or 4 years after that, I think, and that's when I saw him in Parkhurst. But we're going to get to that one as well. And I've got another one. As well. Yes. I can tell you that in Parkhurst, he knocked Mr. Lloyd clean out, the PO. That's coming soon. I'm going to tell you about that one, and another deep one as well. When we're going to see. But the character things, the changing of characters and whatnot, in later years. That's why they say to me, do you know Michael Peterson? And I say, yeah. But do you know Charlie Bronson? And I say, yeah. But in my mind, 2 different things. People that haven't seen me when I was Yammy and saw me when I was Sammy, if you talk about Yammy, they're going to go, you're having a laugh. He's not like that, And I know Michael was a stand-up. He was. I saw, what he could do pretty early, but he wasn't like he was looking for trouble. By the time the Parkhurst thing came, though, things started to change, I think. And the staff. I'll never forget the way he knocked out Mr. Lloyd. I'm going to give you the build up to that in part 2, probably next week. But my honourable friend, the big man from Newcastle, Steve Rafe, who's probably, Charlie's best friend, and goes up to visit him and whatnot, and I will send off my regards. And Steve, he's got all the knowledge and the history of people, so I'm very respectful and loving Steve Rafe, especially when we got the football connection as well. And I'm very thankful that he got that voice message to me, because then it gives me the authority to talk, because you know you can't just speak about people. I don't know what's going on in there. I wasn't writing to him regular. I think in Whitemore a couple of times when I talk out the window, but I was on a different. I was mentally unstable then, and he was probably going through his stuff. I hardly listened to anything back then. And what was the other thing as well? There was one more thing I had to tell you. No. Everything's cool. I'm going to get back to you after. And yeah, wishing you a great day, and loving you all. And I'm going to get back to you all in a couple of hours' time. Anything I need to answer and whatnot, you know, I'll get round to it. Just to inform you that they took my mother off me a couple of days ago. I've been holding it in with the dementia. She kept being found wandering in the streets at night. You know, I've never had no time with the mother that I loved as a little boy, and you know, I had a little cry and everything, and it hurts me because I was going around there every couple of days, and you know, then I find out that they're not one of my sisters and family. Then some bits of my family have, and the social services have made a decision to put her into our home, which obviously I won't be able to visit in these times. And it's just so funny as well that the day that happened with my mum, I'm on YouTube, and my Welsh family, her brother and my cousins that I haven't seen since childhood, found me on YouTube as well. So then I had to break the news to them, because I didn't really have no family. They never really stayed close to each other. But you know, it was very hard for me to think about my mum. But in some ways I'm glad that she's safer. You know, I wouldn't like anything happening to her wandering around. We know what kind of lunatics there are running about at night, and I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if anything happened. But no, she's safer, and she likes a lot of people around her, because she was very lonely with the carers there with her, and she used to lighten up when she sees me. I know everyone was saying that she only smiles and gets laughter, but I got conversations out of her. I still do. She still sees a little me, but it was deteriorating, and I've had to witness that firsthand. And it was always my fear in prison that, you know, I never really got to know my dad properly, and he died in the Cat Aids in Whitemore. They didn't even let me go to the funeral. You know, but it's a bit of the story there for you. And yeah, Mumsy, and I'm glad to reach out to the Welsh family. But yeah, just sharing that with you to let you keep you up to date on how the journey's going. Far from perfect, all of us, I know. Even when you're feeling good and ready for the last battle in life, you know, to change, then other little things are going to get in the way and play on your emotions. And this is very important, because the thought process in the old days, when those things used to happen to me, I used to go use it as a red flag and a signal to go berserk and that kind of stuff. But no, wishing you all day, and yes, coming soon, Michael Peterson again, or just as he turns to Charlie Bronson and the Parkhurst Tale, and loads more coming, because you got to remember I was in Belmarsh in the prison when he took the hostages in the cell and asked for a helicopter and a blow-up doll. I was on another wing, but I got all the feedback obviously from staff who would, you know, down the block and that kind of stuff. So I didn't see it, but I was in the jail at the same time. So if you want to hear that one, I can give you my version if you like. But yeah, have a great day, and just keep your hearts clean, and do the best you can. Sending out love to you. Love you loads. Thank you.